Yeah, there's something going on with the audio here because it should have said meeting now being recorded.
So, are you good?
Yeah, we should be good.
All right, item 5, approval of 6/10/24 Public Work and Utility Committee meeting. What's your wish?
Move to approve. I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Item 6. Approval of June 2024 water and sewer permit.
Move to approve.
A second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. The staff report, item 7, CIP update. Michael?
We got a lot going on in the village right now. Pretty much getting the right of way finished up on Weston Ave from X to Ryan Street. So integrity should be starting on that stretch between X and Von Kennel later this month. Then between Alderson and Birch Street, water main has been installed on Alderson Street, and the sanitary sewers currently about half done with the that's where Mr. Hubbard is today. He works for MSA as an on-site inspector. So yep.
Is there a change order on Western Avenue for that? All the changes, the new right of way and all that?
There will be coming up, but we don't have a number on that yet. I mean, AECOM used their construction services for the redesign. A lot of it isn't essentially all we did was chopped off the multi-use path from the design. The road bed is more or less exactly where it was. There'll be some, but they're using their construction services costs for that right now, because it is, I mean, usually there are some design deviations during the project, but this one's a little bigger. But
What about contract?
the contractor will have one too. We get revised quantities together.
We just don't want a surprise.
Yep. No, yeah, because
Honestly, I don't want a surprise.
yep. Yeah, we did tell them that we're gonna be removing the path, and we'll be getting them revised quantities so we can.
And you gotta be fair number.
Yep,
Other than that, it's not gonna work.
correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, so then between Alderson and Birch, the utility work in that intersection is done. Water mains in up to Summit from Weston Ave, and the sanitary sewer should be getting completed this week. And then storm sewer should also be close to finishing up by the end of this week. And then it'll just be getting that road rebuilt from the intersection, then Alderson heading north. So that's all indicated as about a mid-August completion, and long as weather cooperates, we should be able to stay on that schedule. So that intersection will be open, and Alderson Street will be back open by the time school begins again this fall. Then they indicate having 2 crews. One would be working on the water main and sewer on Weston Avenue heading towards Birch. Then Summit Ave is also new water main. So one crew will be going east on Weston Ave. The other crew will be going west on Summit. And so I think that.
Do you have 2 inspectors in there?
If they need to, MSA will provide a second inspector.
Got 2 crews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, that one's moving along. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, East Jelnik and Von Kennel, there's a slight delay on getting the water main through the mobile home park finished, as Charter had a pedestal line that more or less is on top of the existing water main and where the new water main would be placed. So until we can get somebody from Charter to either relocate that or temporarily hold it so that we can do the work underneath it. But it sounds like that should happen this week now. They finally got in contact with somebody from Charter who responded. So we'll get that water main finished up. But they did start sewer on Tower Ridge in East Jelnik. So that portion will get taken care of, and then we are looking at options at County Road X to see if it's possible to not have to dig up County X. Found an as-built actually today as I was digging into that more. That showed that the ductile iron water main, when Camp Phillips was redone, was stubbed east onto East Jelnik, about 80 feet. So if that's the case, then there's no need to redo the water main as long as all those valves do hold. So, and then we could potentially look at just lining the sewer main through there instead of digging up the sewer main. So more to find out on that one this week.
And getting back to that, construction stop for that, line for the, what,
The charter line?
charter line,
Yep.
the construction stop.
No, they just moved to a different portion. So they got as much as they could through the mobile home easement area. And then they stopped where they could, and now they're working on the sewer then by Tower Ridge and East Jelnik.
So are those guys gonna put their line some other place?
Or they'll hold it. It's really between them to coordinate how they want that to go.
So we don't want it in that trench at all.
So we actually don't have right of way. We have a utility easement through there. And so does Charter, TDS, WPS. Everybody's got the same
Same easement?
easement area. So it's kind of tight and messy.
Well, thing is, again, we have a problem if they get at the line.
Correct, yeah. If there is ever a true emergency, yes, that would be the issue.
And they understand,
Yeah,
okay? All right.
yeah.
What else?
Jelnik Avenue between the junior and senior high, the concrete work or the concrete curb should be finished up today. It looked like they had most of those radiuses poured in. And then they'll start milling the existing asphalt this week. And right now, it looks like American would be in then Monday next week to get the binder layer on. So that road should be open back up, I would think fairly shortly, maybe two more weeks or so. So we'll at least have one maybe done for the summer. And then we got a couple other design projects with Ross Ave and Fuller Street. Just working through some of the DOT process on a lot of these joint projects. And then Schofield Ave and Mesker, Van Aert is the electrical sub for Chippewa Concrete. Based on lead times, they're anticipating a fall installation of those signals. And then WPS was out relocating their poles ahead of the traffic lights last week. So
It's a big project for them. Wow. They're working there almost a week.
yeah,
Are we charging this?
no,
No? Okay,
no, that's why they install everything on easements these days.
then they charge us.
Then they can charge you if it's in their own easement, but when it's in the public right of way, they're have to relocate it. I'm going back and forth with the DOT on the agreement for the storm pond. I saw they sent me something on Friday. I didn't get a chance to review that yet today, but I think we're close there. And then
Cost sharing, yeah.
I don't know if they'll actually cost share, but they'll at least let us use the land. That was
So is that just us then? Because it's not.
it would be with Rothschild and Schofield.
I think you're the majority of it.
Yeah, we're probably about 75-80% of the water that contributes to it. So I think Schofield like 3%, 4%. It's a small little bit. But yeah,
Isn't it assist with Rothschild's development that's coming in there though too?
potentially. Depending on how they treat that. I see I had a spelling error there, but and then Clark Dietz is working on the design for the Schofield Ave redo for next year. Mainly pavement replacement and some utilities. We did get the 2.6 million local road improvement program grant, which we got a signed copy of like last week. So got guaranteed money there. And Working through a few chemical feed pump items still for well 7 and 8. They are up and running, pumping to the system, but haven't quite reached final completion yet, so still some money coming back our way on that project. And then the pilot study for the well 3 iron manganese removal should be starting the week of July 22nd. I think that's the majority of them.
Start with installation of it or?
Yeah, so they'll bring in the pilot, it comes in on a skid
Right.
and we'll pump well 3 again. It'll go through and they'll be able to determine the proper media to use for removal of iron manganese, which we need to prove to the DNR that that's necessary for that to be included as part of our safe drinking water loan for well 3 as a pre-treatment before the PFAS treatment for that well.
Right, yeah.
So by doing this, then we'll be able to, then well 3 will be eligible for the same emerging contaminant funding that well 4 is receiving.
On Blue Street, Inspector Hoppy, gonna issue a credit or a change order?
Not a credit, there is a design change in the packet. So as part of the original proposal, I told them to just the intersection with Schofield Ave, kind of ignore that because that's going to be studied.
I was referring like, because you had mentioned in the minutes with the icon board that you just.
Oh, so that's for the stormwater portion. So again, the stormwater option was evaluate the best way to treat this and get additional treatment for contributing areas outside of just the Fuller Street right of way. So that was going to be then an additional services contract. So we don't need that additional services now because
City charge 11,000 for just working with the ice.
yeah, some of that, and then I think the survey was on there too. Yeah, so that because we'll still have them survey it so it's all together and then making sure that our plan sheets, our specifications, everything's together.
So the 70,000.
Okay, so the surveying was broken out, yeah. Yeah, so that's item, whatever, I think 10 or 11 on the 13 on the agenda, but yeah. We can talk
So
about,
we get about 48,000.
I think that's about what it was, yeah.
Yeah.
But had we not had Isaac doing it, we'd probably at least double that, if not more.
Anything else? Question for Michael?
Quick question, East Jelinek, is that being done in phases? As far as I saw, it's close to Von Kennel, is the rest kind of be done after that, or?
Yeah, so they'll essentially do X to Von Kennel as kind of a group. And I can't remember if it's Von Kennel or if they'll just finish East Jelinek all the way through and then do Von Kennel lap. Von Kennel itself, there's no water and sewer work. That's strictly just new road, I guess, building. And even East Jelinek, east of Von Kennel, the only sewer and water work is right near Mesker Street. So.
And I don't know if it was you guys or the homeowner, but the house right at the corner of East Jelinek and X, the trees got trimmed up like halfway, and it is much safer trying to clear that intersection for people, so.
Yeah, that must have been the homeowner. I know he talked about doing that. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? How many projects going right now?
Too many.
6.
Something like that, yeah.
6.
Roads, waters.
Yeah, yeah.
6.
Wells, PFAS, Jelinek, Weston Ave. Yeah, at least 6.
Yep.
I think we're,
That's a lot.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Yep.
Street operation update, item 8.
Yep, you can see what we did in the months of June to July, so much But so far, kind of just some of it's the standard regular maintenance work. The big items, we're helping the park department. They replaced all the playground equipment on all the parks. And right now, that's taking us into July on that. It's not a lot of people, but they're laying gravel down now for concrete curbing around them and assisting the park department with the wood chips, putting those in. Street sweeping, we made one round on everything. He's still working on like Schofield Avenue needs a little bit, so they're working on that a little bit. We had some flood repairs from the 22nd of June. We had heavy rains that went over East Nick. There was some major water issues there, but that's taken care of. So really coming up right now, we have our newest employee, Peter Burris, and he's been basically just mowing. He takes care of all the urban mowing with Lizard, and he's out in all the country. He made one full round with our boom mower, and he's gonna start back on some of that because of all the rain. The grass has been growing crazy. Right now, 5 of the staff are working on the storm sewer extension on off of Mescaron, Chadwick and Colleen. They're working on that. Now, we were delayed a little bit because of weather, but hopefully a couple of weeks yet. I would think that should be wrapped up pretty good. And then after that, it's going to be getting ready for RC pavers. They had the first bid opening for asphalt overlays, which will be, is it Sandy Mills down there, Michael? I still remember up Alderson.
Sand Hill Meadows.
And I guess it's still one of it. All those roads are gonna get asphalt overlaid, so we've got to raise all the manholes and water valves, mill all the butt joints on the driveways and stuff, so that's gonna be the next push. And then also Claire Avenue is gonna get asphalt overlaid from County Highway X over to Alderson. They did do some wedging earlier on that, where there were some areas that were iffy, I guess, and so we'll have milling to do on that, so. And then in between, just put out fires, whatever comes up, manhole, culvert, you know how life goes, you get surprises as times go. But the crew's doing a good job, and things are moving along. So the other thing that's going on is Podrika's construction has the technology park phase 1. They were awarded the bid for that, which is curb replacement in the technology park. And I don't have a map, I think I have it earlier, but if you take a run through, it's not the whole technology park, but coming off of Schofield Avenue going south is the bulk of it down into Venture Way. And then Zinsser has it from Schofield Avenue down to the south termini almost, and then Commerce from Zinsser going to Ricky Val. Those are the streets there. Phase 2 is going to be American Asphalt, and they are going to be doing pavement repair. The list there is, these are all the asphalt overlays that RC Pavers is going to be doing yet, including Colleen and Chadwick, where we're doing the storm sewer work now. Portions of that are going to have, Colleen's going to have the asphalt picked right off of it until it hits Chadwick, and then they're going to put a new mat on that when we're done, probably beef it up with a little more recycled gravel on it too, because it was kind of iffy. And then the rest of those streets are the ones that are going to get overlaid. So yeah, we've got milling on all of those streets, and if there's any water valves and manholes, we're going to end up raising them. But the bulk of it is the 2 subdivisions, Sand Hill Meadows and Crane Meadows, that have the most. So they'll be busy. But getting back to the technology part, Podrika's, they're going to be working on the curb, and then they're putting new rings on all LADTech rings on all of the storm sewer inlets on the roads they're working on there. Once they're done, which should be, I believe it's August 8th or 15th, they're supposed to be finished with that. Then American Asphalt would be turned over to them for milling and paving. When Podrika's is done out there, the roundabout is going to get new curb on it by Sandy Lane and Ross Avenue. So the curb that, some parts of it were replaced, or what wasn't replaced, all the islands are going to get new curb, the inlets are going to get reworked. The roadway, they're going to do it without sawing the asphalt, removing the asphalt, so that'll help a little bit. It's going to be interesting with the traffic control. I imagine they're going to have to flag traffic through there, getting that done. So that's kind of what it was. They have to have it open, they can't close it, so they'll have to do everything under traffic. But I'm pretty impressed. I met the owner, actually, Braxton Podrika's this morning. They've had the city of Wausau sidewalk contract for the last 2 years, which is a challenge. I'm sure Luis has seen all the sidewalk there because they run all over the city. It's not just like you sit down and do a half a mile of sidewalk and squares all over. They had a crew out there this morning in the tech park. There was probably a dozen guys at least, and they were moving. So, good words from them, hopefully, so everything should go good. So that's kind of the bulk of it. I guess.
So in the Chadwick Street and the Common Avenue,
Mhm.
are we replacing that blacktop?
Yes,
Yep,
Yeah, it looked pretty bad.
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be.
Okay, and then on Nick Avenue, that water standing in there, what did we do? It just went away by itself or? we did
That's when
something?
we had the monsoonal rains, yeah, it's settled down. If you look, this is looking east. There is a driveway right to the right of this picture. That's where, that was put in last year, there's a new residence there. Underwater, just to the east of where the water's crossing now, there is a cross culvert that we put in there in consolidation with Corona Water, because Corona Water owns the south half, we've got the north half. There's one cross pipe in there now. We might have to put one more in there yet to catch the flow, because the water comes from the south going north, hits this ditch line further to the east and then comes west. Underneath their driveway, there's two pipes, or one pipe right now, but it just came so hard that you couldn't keep up with it. We had flooding in other areas too.
What's the size of the pipe?
Underneath the driveway,
Yeah.
a 24 or 30, I'd have to look at it, I can't
That's a
remember,
good
it's 2
size
years
pipe.
ago. Pardon?
That's a good size pipe, it should handle it.
There's a lot of water, because it goes uphill as you go to the south and east.
Mhm.
So that all comes down, and there's like a waterway a little bit further to the east, it hits the ditch, comes back to the west. Then that cross pipe runs on a diagonal. West of where this driveway is, there's two big cross pipe that run across and takes the water from the south to the north side of East Neck. Those were full, but it's the water coming from east flowing to the west. The hill crests, the top of the hill is to the east, then there's a downhill grade going to east, so we're taking everything from that down, that high point coming back to the west. I think another cross pipe underneath there should carry it. The water never overtopped Kamichik. If you would go from Shorey to the south, there's pipe there, two big pipe, and they're actually considered a bridge because they're over 20 feet in length across the center line. That gets inspected every 2 years, those do, and those were taking the water fine. It's just, it hits so hard, so fast, you do it. Pardon? Has it flooded their previously? I would have to say probably yes. I can't believe that in over history, it hasn't done that when you get heavy enough rain. Forrest, I was over here, took the pictures that day. Forrest was out chasing, Forrest Blair was out chasing water too. We had water in a few other spots. It didn't do any damage, but it crested the roads just because it came so hard. It's just like a pretty water.
yeah.
Everything is, yeah, submerged, so. But it's, that driveway going into the house, that's the last residence on that hill. You go to the east, there's nothing, no other residents right now, so. Not that we won't address it with another pipe, we'll talk to Cora, whether probably put one more in and then she take care of it. So the residents could still get in and out of the driveway.
Okay, anything else?
I'd like to thank the village of Weston for 5 years of employment. Today was my 5-year anniversary, and Friday the 12th will be my last day. And retirement, so. Thanks for working out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Well, I appreciate the employment. Believe me, I turned 65 on the 4th of July, so it's time to right off into the sunset and do masonry work. Time to retire and go. And not get like any more gray hair. But that's the goal. So. Thank you.
Maybe we go to one follow-up. Did somebody before drilled a hole in the sidewalk on Bobble and Ross? Right by where that bike stand is. I don't know for what purpose. But she did build it.
Okay.
I don't know if he did it.
Probably a while ago, but yeah, we can get it.
But yeah, it's right, it's, I don't know, it's like this big.
I think that might have been brought up before, right, so I'll put it on.
I mentioned it last, but yeah.
We can get some quick sets of
It's
it.
just the right size for it to step in and break its ankle.
And is there anything in it now? Is it just gravel?
I you know, just looked and said, that shouldn't be there. I, you know. Yeah, I think they must have cordialed it for something, it was something.
Is there a gas line underneath
I
it
don't
or
know what-
something?
Yeah, something, I mean, you can see it was marked, they drilled it, they just didn't build it.
Yeah.
When I leave here today, I'll text it to the crew.
Yeah, I think somebody, yeah, it's more work to get there than to fill it, but. I'll take care of it. Just because it's in the sidewalk. Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Thank you. Item 9, utility operation update.
Yes, we had a handful of kind of miscellaneous well stuff, some leaks, weather caused some havoc for some of our guys and some long nights kind of fixing some things, but I think we're back in a good spot.
What do you have here? Well, number 2, investigation pipe floating usage. How high was the floating usage?
Well, luckily it didn't go over any threshold. It was up to like 1. So it was actually probably where we wanted to. It's tough when Carrie pumps so much that the residuals that go over to Rim Mountain Metro could probably be up a little bit.
Hmm.
But it didn't get out of hand. It was more like the guys came in that morning, they're like, oh, we need to check what's going on. So something had tripped where it caused, I don't know, we have all these backups to make sure that if the, you know, these flow checks, that if there's not a proper flow volume, that the chemical just doesn't keep flowing. So something tripped that shouldn't have. So they looked into it. I gotta take a look to see. We do have some additional work that we're gonna be doing over there. September, I believe, is when they have a planned shutdown of the plant. So we're gonna use that so we can be on no water. We don't have to use drop shelf water while they're shut down. We can do some maintenance upgrades and do a little well rehab over there as well. So, but no, it wasn't. It was higher than usual, but not high.
Okay.
So as Michael touched on, lots of projects going on, and start of projects means our guys are discovering all the extra work that we have planned for the village. So when we need to shut down certain areas, we do all our valve exercising annually, but you know, just because it opens and closes doesn't mean it actually holds when you need it to hold. So we discovered that for our gelling projects, that there's got to go a few extra blocks down the way to make sure you can isolate some of this stuff. So it was, our guys put a lot of work in getting all the areas closed off they needed to get the gelling valves replaced. So, but now we got a nice backlog of other valves we can replace when we have other projects planned. So, continue with our unidirectional flushing. We're up in the Sandy Meadows area. Hopefully get through that tomorrow, and then we can get back to the west side of Alderson, Camp Phillips, west side of Camp Phillips here. Hopefully wrap that up in the next coming weeks so we can jump on to some other things. Continuing with our valve exercising, that also needs to just be kind of take an assessment of what valves need to be hit. Let's see if we have any upcoming overlays that we want to kind of replace some of the valves before we repave. Continue with some EPA sampling. Had a lot of water main that needed to be delivered to all of these projects. Sewer side, just a handful of lift station, kind of miscellaneous work. Wrapped up our lift station cleaning. Hopefully we can jump onto our sewer jetting. We got 2 guys still wrapped up in the flushing. So once we kind of get through our flushing or some of the project work kind of dies down, we can maybe take a couple guys and start getting onto our sewer jetting. So that doesn't extend into the fall too far. Our SCADA project is basically complete. I think we're just kind of waiting for some restoration. I think they should be, maybe got some done today. Should be out doing some more of that here this week. Diggers locates continue to come in. Work orders. Michael touched on most of our contract work. I mentioned the carry stuff upcoming. We should, I haven't heard back from our hydrant painting, that should be coming up here later this month. If you just wait to confirm some numbers for how many we want to do. I'll be submitting our PFAS settlement claim this week to 3M and DuPont. It's just a little, get a little nervous waiting to hit the final submit button, so I think I've reviewed it about 12 times already, but making sure we can get as much as we can for the 3M and DuPont settlements, and I think there was another settlement now that we may be able to jump on, but Tyco and
BASF, so two other ones have come through now, the class action lawsuit, route similar to 3M and DuPont, so.
So hopefully it's just submit what I have to submit for this one, and we don't have to do anything different. Outside of that, we got our customers added, our water pumped. I did not have the June data for our wastewater flows as of Friday. I did get them today. I did not have a chance to get them in the reports, and then our lift station hours.
That's it.
That's it.
And then we had the Rim Mountain Metro billing dispute, I guess, update. So last month at their June meeting, they only had 3 commissioners. They have a vacancy and one person wasn't there. So they deferred any action until tomorrow at their meeting. So and then a concern they had was 1, setting a precedence. And 2, then how do you calculate what constitutes when a credit is due? And if you meet that criteria, then how do they calculate how a credit is due? So I probably should send it to you guys too, but I sent them essentially a proposal of this is what I would do. This is how we would handle it. I guess if a utility customer of ours would say, I think my bill was incorrectly read. So hopeful that they take that into, they seem like they wanted to give a credit. They just weren't sure how to calculate it or what numbers to use. If they go with either route that I gave them, we're looking at somewhere between $47,000 and a $52,000 credit, which I think would be fair, but.
Don't they have all the quantity?
So they
Charge us per pound, EOD, right?
They do, but they only sample 3 days out of the month. So that's
Well,
the,
they gotta average it through the month and then use that number.
so that's what they did, and they charged us for 340,000 pounds of suspended solids in March. The plant only treated 190,000 pounds.
That's 309 pounds.
So that's where this whole thing kind of came up, because going through the bills, all of a sudden it was like, whoa, this is way off. So that's where we start this whole. So again, that's part of it, is what constitutes an error, what constitutes a special situation that is outside of the average, the norm. Yeah.
That's a special situation.
Yeah. So if you look back, so yeah, and I only have 3 months of data but in general, it seems like by using that 3-day average and going throughout the month and then comparing it to the plant report, it's generally within 80 to 110%. So, there's some variation because it's not the same every day. But in general, it's kind of in this 80 to 110%. That month of March, I'm doing it the other way. It was 37%. So the plant treated 37% of what they said they billed for. Whereas so if you flip that, was that ratio the other way, like 300% or something like that?
How much do you wanna pay?
I want them to give us a credit of about 50,000.
That's it?
That's what it came out to. So our normal monthly bill is only about 100,000. That month
So it's only 1 month.
1 month is what.
Yeah, they were last 3 months, then I'll look at a third of what was it? I mean, we were going back in like the 200 to 300s for DOD, where I think that 1 month of March was 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers were just astronomical compared to what they normally were.
I think it was because we had our Hardy station, we call it, and I had our Weston station.
Yeah.
our CDP station.
Yeah, so in May, our total bill for the month was 136,000. In April, we were 143,000. March, we were at 224,000. So it was $80,000 more than what, an average, a typical bill was. And we did have some high loadings. I'm not gonna deny that there wasn't a high loading that they sampled. It just wasn't representative of the entire month that they got, so.
How much does it cost?
They do it with their own personnel and their lab is, DNR or state certified, so. I, I don't know if, how much extra cost it actually is. It's really probably just hiring another person if they wanted to sample more often. Or, once a month on the second Tuesday of the month. During the day, so at 11:30 tomorrow.
Is that a peak hour at that time?
Is that a,
That's a peak hour for the floor?
no, that's when they meet.
Yes.
That's when they meet.
Then what time of day is that?
So it's a sample unit that goes in the manhole and it just collects wastewater for 3 days. So they generally will put it in on a Monday.
I think depending on what time you put it. That's the time of collecting it, maybe at the high peak or whatever.
Yeah, so it sits in the manhole for 3 days and however it, grabs its sample.
Well, whatever you want to do, they gotta pay the money, that's all. It's good. And there's no way out of it.
Yeah, so
That's our taxpayer money, you can't just let it go.
No, I agree. Like I said, I'm very bothered by it.
Yeah.
You can't defend, it's just indefensible.
And then the thing is, how come they didn't recognize that to let us know, and you have to recognize that, say, hey, you charge us extra.
that's,
That's their job to take a look at it before they send the bill out.
so I agree with that. The data I was trying to put together, I had requested. And they didn't seem to understand why I wanted the information from the other communities. And I was like, well, I want to be able to compare what you're charging all of us and compare it to what you're saying you're treating at the plant. Cause that should be a check, right? Like,
Yes, it should be the same.
so,
Right.
I don't understand when people don't want to give you information. That's my response to that one.
yeah,
What are you hiding?
yeah.
You're a public entity.
Yeah. It's an open book, actually, anybody can record us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes me just. I might get to that meeting tomorrow. Where is it?
It's at the Rim Mountain Metro sewerage district. So it's at the end of Astor Road in the town of Rim Mountain. So-
Anybody can just show up.
You can, yeah.
Until 11:30.
They're not to be
11:30.
with us.
I mean, yeah, this is my third.
As long as you're fired up, just bring them in.
I don't know if they'll come here, but we can
want
definitely go
our
there.
turf, not their turf. Over here.
Yeah. Are they their own entity or are they part of the village of?
Nope, they are a separate sewerage district, so. Actually, there's a vacancy on the district board, so if anybody's interested.
I thought you had one.
Oh, I'll put this in. Once a month, that's it.
Once a month they meet, yeah.
And they
I thought
usually
that was-
provide lunch.
We do have there is a Weston resident, he is the chairman of the commission, Bob Stavern.
Right.
So he's who I have been talking to, like I said, it's almost caught up in the procedural aspect of it we agree this doesn't seem fair, we think we should give you a credit. We're just not quite sure of how that looks, so that's why I said, here's how you could do it.
No, it's how does it look when you charge for twice as much as you did?
Yeah,
That's the how does it look?
yeah.
I
So,
think they should be concerned how it looked if we go to court.
yeah, and the comment I initially,
Newspaper too.
the comment I initially,
Was right, my
Yeah.
first thought was that, yeah,
Yes, it's gonna be in the newspaper,
yeah,
and we don't wanna go that far at all, we just wanna settle,
we can, we go. for
heard the
20.
rest or
Yeah.
whatever they wanna do. Let's move on with the line.
yeah.
Hey. Any other question for Michael?
The billing is just automatic, it's just, the computer runs it and spits it out, like somebody collects those samples and gives it back, that data, right?
No, I'm sure there's a human element to it somewhere that they just don't. Again, I'm not sure how many people have questioned them in the past or, and according to them, no, this is the
Well, I mean,
first,
if jump on our average, like monthly reporting, it's two,
yeah,
we just button down numbers.
yeah, it just, bill went out and, oh, okay. So I
I repeat that one. still.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody questioned them so far all this year.
and they said in 30+ years of the plant's operation, they've never had a month where it's been so drastically different, and so I'm like, okay.
Like just now.
So I'm like, so this is a once in every 30-year event. Okay, let's treat it as such, and
Let's just get back to the pH excursions we had.
Wait, how does this have either or here for unusual, once in 30 years?
yeah, well, they don't have a criteria. They just say all you communities have agreed that you will pay your monthly bill based on our sample, our three.
That's what they're saying now, they're like.
That's kind of what the director of the
Wow.
How many
district.
communities is it?
That's
There's 5 of us.
Five, who pays the most?
We do.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
There
You
is
know, I
only
don't
4
know
right
who
now.
Makes the gold, it's called the golden rule.
Yeah,
US
yeah,
gold
yeah,
makes-
gold makes gold.
Like, oh, just seriously, like,
Yeah, no,
so we're their biggest customer.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, this other thing's not like.
Well,
yeah.
right.
They also know that, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like, we're dealing with the IRS.
All
So-
right. Anything else? Josh?
Go get them one.
Not
Okay.
I'm just looking at-
No.
If I got time on both sides.
So,
You guys should vote.
okay, policy discussion and recommendation, item 10, 2023 annual drinking water report, Michael.
Josh did all this work.
It's, nothing too much to discuss. So this is just our annual water quality report required by the Safe Drinking Water Act. So it's whatever sampling and, you know, we have the breakdown of kind of our water quality report that's attached here where, you know, they have the inorganic contaminants, you know, and then unregulated contaminants, what have you. So it's just kind of a compilation of what we found in our compliance sampling, for the DNR. And then we put together a little report to send out. And we usually, we've sent a postcard in recent years, but we may be modifying. So the postcard just kind of will direct, customers as to where they can access the annual report, but it seemed like they viewed it as more of a ballot this year, and then they were kind of checking and searching with how they wanted to pay their bill. So up there is what our postcard looked like, but Stacy was receiving postcards back with people circling how they want to pay their bill. So I think we may make some tweaks and modifications to it, but on the backside of that is where, you know, that's just what's needed for information about pay bills, or the Aquahawk, how to track your water usage, so that here is where you would actually find a copy of the actual annual report that we got for it, so. But nothing too exciting in there. We did have one violation of a missed nitrate sample in April of last year, but we're back in compliance. It was just a missed sample sheet and bottle that was sitting back at the old building. So we got back in compliance, put it forward. That's all that was necessary, but we had to make the statement in our CCR, our consumer confidence report. And attached to this package, so this whole package is what we had submitted to the DNR with our certification letter of where we'd be posting this stuff and how residents can access this. Then we had a translated version from mom, as well. But nothing too exciting in it. It's the passing grade, so next year will be a little more interesting now that we'll have to put well 7 and 8 on there. As well, we won't be back on it, but some other PFAS related items to address, I'm sure.
Are there still functions items for 7 and 8? I saw that, I'm still reading or something.
Yeah, That-
Yeah, I think most kind of electric is okay. So there's just kind of chemical feed type stuff where there's a pressure switch or something that had broke and it's causing some leaking and, it's just not, we should be able to leave at night knowing that it's good to go, but our guys do have to go in there and kind of baby it once in a while with leaks and it's just not plug and play like it should be at this point.
Have we closed it out?
no.
So these last was it the 18th, I think?
July,
18th, they're
yeah.
expecting this last piece that should then get everything back. Our guys already have their eyes set on some other things they'd like to see done, so, but we want to get it to how it's supposed to be designed, so then we can get in there and they can do their mapping, so.
Who's the main GC for that project?
Alice?
we've had some, I guess, very important people with that organization on calls the last few weeks, so.
Are they? I mean, I know it was like January. I never really,
Yeah.
still having issues. I know there were some parts and this, that, and the other.
I think we should have been fully pumped in the system this time last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know there was some that came up and then pushed it a little bit and then
I
obviously.
remember if there was incentives to,
Yeah,
there was some incentives to be done and, yeah, that was.
Yeah,
so I mean,
well, we're still collecting money back every day.
we are.
Yes,
So they're on the penalty.
yes.
How long have they been on the penalty?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, that long?
Well, when it's substantial, we granted substantial completion, 2 weeks ago, a week ago,
Oh,
but then
Yeah.
we're having that final completion.
Yeah.
what was the original contract that date?
Original was like December, and then, yeah, that got pushed to like March. And, I'd have to look back.
Is Ellis, I mean, are they saying it's the mechanics of it? What?
It's really seems like it's coming down to two of their
They
subcontractors,
subbed out the work.
some of it, yeah. And those, there's two in particular that seem to be pointing the finger back at each other, saying it's their issue. So,
But Ellis didn't want to, so they had to sub it out.
yeah, I mean, it's an MEP contractor. So,
MEP.
yeah, like, you know, it's one of their mechanical, electrical, plumbing contractors that's,
Ah. So. Just out of curiosity, PGA didn't want anything to do with it?
PGA is not involved there, no.
The thing is, Michael.
Yep.
We don't know those guys.
No,
The only person we know is the general contractor.
Yeah.
He's responsible.
Correct.
Finish the job and turn it.
correct. And that's why we've had several conversations where it's not my job or Josh's job to tell the subs what to do. It's their job to tell the subs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell them anything.
Well, we haven't been.
We had to tell our guys to kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah, that's tough. You wanna get it up, you wanna get it running, you wanna get it done, and that's
Yeah.
everybody's net interest, but it is their responsibility at the same time. Has there been a discussion about bringing PGA in? And then just billing them for whatever they gotta fix?
That it's really up to Ellis. We don't dictate that. It's their job to complete, and however they want to complete it is how they complete it. So,
But this far way past the contract termination date?
yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, we're,
So we are, I mean, we are able to, it is something to.
yeah,
But we are able to utilize, it, but it's,
Not
there's a lot of things that our guys have to make ready,
Yeah.
ready to perform.
Substantial.
I was just advising.
Oh, it's done.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Okay, I'm sorry, thank you.
All right, I'll accept the motion to acknowledge the completion of the 2023 annual water quality report.
I'll move it out to the 2023 annual water quality report. The required public notification for Weston municipal utilities.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 11, Linwood Court construction discussion. Is that why you're here, Jennifer?
I'm just here to listen.
yep. So, last month we talked about, Lindenwood Court and how, it's a platted unbuilt subdivision, which is part of the Weston Ave corridor plan. You know, we kind of showed some future roads coming in here. Right now, there's one house that's built back on lot 7 here. Otherwise, this is really just one big long driveway. Huron Street is to the west. We'll have this one up. So Huron Street is this road here. Ryan Street is here. So it's closer to Huron, but in between that Huron and Ryan Street segment of Weston Ave, which would be part of the roadway that would get rebuilt and the utility extensions next year. So we've had, we can't vacate the plat due to the house, being back there, and then there being separate owners now of, the other 11 lots. So it's a 12 lot, cul-de-sac subdivision. I guess, I was asked to try to figure out what the, bring an estimate, together. Kind of looking at what costs are for water, sewer, street, storm, curb, gutter, sidewalk. We're about 680 linear feet of center line. So total estimated project would be about 690,000. With the 12 lots, that's about 58,000 per lot, which then we would be assessing 100% to those adjacent lots.
What is the value of those lots? I just when I read that, I went 58,000, and I went,
Yeah, they're 1.2 acre lots, 1.4 acres. I mean, they're all at least 1.2.
90 to 125
Oh, just for the lot?
for the lot. Some of those lots are on the Eau Claire River. The 125s are on the Eau Claire.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I think other lots, I would say 50 to 60,000 a lot is what we've been seeing, and those are less than an acre.
Yeah, that's amazing how much that's gone out.
So if these lots went for around 100,000, if that cost was included, I would think would be,
so it's still selling.
yeah, between 90 and 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's maybe a little extra contingency in that number, but in general, it's,
I just wanted to be sure about just a quick and dirty, that we weren't gonna turn this into a rate, now we assess these costs and nobody wants it.
Right.
well, I mean, there are adjacent property owners, so based on our special assessment ordinance, they would be, as soon as the project's done, we would finalize the assessments and they would owe it. So,
And that's based on them being assessed at the same way we've done like Apache and all the other.
so this would be a little different because we'd be playing developer. And this project's only being assessed because it's it's an improvement to these lots. There's no existing infrastructure, there's no it's all brand new infrastructure, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like the water and sewer projects we've had, those have all been done on the basis of looping and system reinforcement. And along the way of reinforcing the system, it pulls in people then onto the sewer and water grid that normally wouldn't be. So it's not that they're requesting it or it's being put in solely for their benefit. This is one where it's solely for the benefit of these lots. There's no, it's not it wouldn't necessarily, you couldn't justify that guy down the road is benefiting from this infrastructure getting put in, because it's just going down their street.
So now, if someone, is it possible there'll be development behind this? Or, I don't know.
It could be, yeah, I mean,
And if it does, then it goes. What I wanted to ask is,
Yep.
is there gonna be a development coming behind this or likely at some point? And then we're gonna assess them differently than what the predecessor, or this one is being
Yeah.
assessed at, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, so for like a Hinter Springs or somebody like that, like if Denyon, say, wanted to buy the 40 acres next to it, they're, a developer is responsible for all their costs. The village doesn't pay for it. So a developer has to put in the water, sewer, street, curb gutter, sidewalk, and that's 100% their cost. The village doesn't pay for any of that.
Okay, I just want to avoid a scenario where he's
Yeah,
being asked to pay much more than what others are being asked to pay.
yeah. So I mean, that would be the option too, is we'd meet with them and say, hey, we're either gonna do this project as a village project and assess you, or you can look at hiring an engineering firm and designing it and bidding it and putting this in, which may be cheaper than if we go do it as the public entity. Or it might not be. You know,
Construction probably cheaper, but not the design part.
yeah, I don't know.
And do they have any under inkling that this is coming down the pipe?
I don't know. I guess that may be the next step. If there's a desire for us to do this, then I guess, I think Jen's the one who's been in contact with them.
Well, there's a lot of history with the site. so originally, they kind of stalled because sewer and water was supposed to be extended, they're supposed to share it with. It's the property that now, Gary Grant owns, it used to be called Fernwood. On the north side, they were just looking to put sewer and water across 29 in order to be able to do that development, which was owned by, being Nebraska at the time. And then this one, Carl Matthews was the one who developed Linden, this Linden Road. He was given a building permit. Probably should not have been, and then basically kind of sick on a little bit after that. My understanding is Bob Dudley is purchased the lots for him to kind of help him out. Keith and I, many years ago, met with Bob Dudley and we're just kind of holding it, and so something happened on Weston Avenue. So they knew someday that it was going to happen, but nobody was had, this has just been sitting there. I had it on a list to vacate it, but when I basically was looking at it in the way that things are, it's kind of hard to do this one, just because of the way that that one house is at the end, and there would be a driveway there. And just with us looking at housing needs and things like that in the village, it was always talked about that we were going to extend. And we can complete this.
So normally we get a staff conclusion. Is this a, no one wants to make a,
I mean, if anything, you could say I move to recommend the village pursue the installation of infrastructure and move it on to the village board for I don't know how, I guess I wasn't quite sure how to write something there.
You think we should give them time, say, okay, we give you another 30 days. If you don't come with a plan to us, we're gonna start designing it, we're gonna start building it, and we're gonna build it for. But give them some time to.
Yeah, I mean,
write it.
I think that's fair to say, you know, we see this as you know, with Weston Avenue getting improvements over the next year plus here, we should be, you know, water and sewer will be available to this subdivision. You know,
and are they gonna get a deferral arrangement?
they wouldn't because,
Okay, so they're being treated exactly like a developer would be. So
Correct.
You incur the cost today, here's your bill back.
Yeah.
But if
Isn't there, is a law that said when you have the water passing through your property, you have 1 year to connect to it?
yeah, unless we change it. So on our other assessments, we've allowed them to defer it because we're not because we're extending it for the greater good of the system, not just for that person.
Well, but this way you have.
This would be different, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's unimproved lots except for the one house, so.
Right.
I mean, even if he doesn't connect, the assessment would still be due right away.
Is the land, are the landholders of the other lots all one entity or person, or is it multiple?
One entity,
Well, it's two.
And is that
and the
different
other.
from the person that owns the house?
yeah,
Yes.
It is, okay, so it does get a little complicated.
yeah,
Is that 58,000 is your estimate?
per lot, like if we just said, here's the total cost divided by the 12 lots,
Okay.
this is what it would be.
I would send them a letter, give them all those numbers, say, here it is, and that's your time limit, you don't do it, or do the project, you do.
So that's your motion?
And it's not 20 years or 30 years or whatever.
No, yeah,
Is today. Make sense?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
Stacy, you got that?
Yeah.
Yeah, motion by,
No, I'm just making sure.
right, okay. You're gonna establish the time. How long we gonna give them time?
I don't know, give them 90 days.
Yeah, design is 90 days.
Well, I'm gonna say even just to
Yeah,
get,
have the design.
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't expect them to hire somebody.
Well, we gotta be fair to him too.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't expect me to get it done in 90 days.
That's a lot of money to talk about.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's what I said to the homeowner, even that one home, it's,
Yeah.
that's, you're not looking at a small number there. And they must have, right now, well stuff.
Correct, yeah.
And what kind of light, do we know what the light is on that?
We looked that up last time and that property owner has a holding tank, so they have a well, but only a holding tank.
Okay, so not one.
So a lot of it was set up that it was going to be, yeah, put on.
I didn't know if the original was gonna build it still owns it.
But
It
I
is,
wasn't
yeah.
sure
Or
what-
if it's
yeah,
split to
he
somebody
is.
else and they're like,
No.
they'll open their mailbox and fall over, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why the road was never built, none of that.
Mhm.
Well, that's one of the reasons why our developer agreements and everything are structured the way they are these days.
Other discussion?
You restate your motion.
Would you read the motion again, please?
I moved to send owner a letter to submit the design plan within, and then you guys went back and forth and you never said.
So
a
go
date.
90 days.
90 days?
Yep.
Okay, there was no,
And I would say it's the intent to put forth a design plan, not the actual design, but the intent to put forth the design plan in 90 days.
So I guess my question is, who's the owner? Because there's like 3 or 4 different owners on all of those properties.
Well, it's two owners, so I guess.
One that owns the house and one owns all the other
I
lots.
thought it was Dudley owns a couple lots, this company owns a couple lots.
That company is a Dudley company. Yeah.
Who owns it?
And
And then the property that burned down is,
That's a separate parcel. So I mean, somebody could look at that and say, hey, we got, I think it's 15 or 20 acres right next door. Maybe if we really want to do this, we'll combine those and,
so that's not included as part of the.
no,
Okay.
because that's an unplatted parcel.
Stacy, does the
12 lots, everything is about.
rest
that
of the
12.
motion include that if not communicated within 90 days, the village would proceed with completing the plan, with completing the development? Because I think that was part of the motion.
Yes,
that we-
yes.
Okay.
Can they vacate the plat? Can they say, we don't want to develop this anymore and we're gonna let them?
I don't know how that works, if they have to sell those lots back to the one property owner and then he,
Usually it goes back as the one, so the fact that there's a road there is the issue. Because it's basically, so if I vacate it, it becomes a landlocked parcel because of where he is.
Right.
Because it would, my understanding, it would go back into one big one except for his, and then we're creating a landlocked parcel.
Yeah.
So it's just been this kind of, what do we do with it?
Yeah. And he has no interest in buying it, being a chunk of land from.
But he's
Yeah.
looking at it, so I, yeah.
Any other discussion?
I mean,
Everybody understand the motion?
I understand the motion, and I guess I would say I'm fine with us communicating with the landowner and seeing what their interest is in this. I mean, without more understanding of this, I don't really have an interest in us developing this on behalf of landowners. Like, if they don't want to develop it and they're fine with things the way they are. I mean, I get that we need some more housing, but these are gonna be very, very expensive houses in our community. So if these people want to develop and build houses, they should do it. But I'm totally for us communicating with them and kind of seeing what their plans are and what we can do to try to help with that if they want to do something.
Yeah, it's not gonna be median income housing.
yeah, no.
No.
There's no-
Yeah.
So I guess the other option is that there needs to be a road. So regardless, if it's not sewer and water and Michael's okay on well and septic, the big issue is there's no road there. So people come all the time and ask this. I mean, this shows up as a planning subdivision.
But you're not gonna build a boat.
Well, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
putting in sewer and water.
You're gonna do it, you're gonna, yeah.
Yeah, and,
I
and
think if you send them that letter, they're gonna come back to you and sit down and talk to you. At that time, they come back with different decision, they should bring it back. All in
Awesome.
favor, signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? I have it, thank you. Item 12. Gentleman Avenue and Alderson Street intersection study result, Michael?
Yep, so we previously had talked about the Alderson and Jelnik intersection, and MSA completed traffic counts in May and while school was in session, and then went through the analysis and based on level of service, queuing times, how quickly you can move through the intersection. Their recommended alternative is to move forward with a compact roundabout, which would operate at a level of service C in the morning and B in the afternoon, whereas a modified all-way stop control with adding left turn lanes would operate a level of service C for both the morning and afternoon. There's also some commentary. I can't remember if it was in the report itself or just verbally with me. But there is the program, assumes everybody comes up to that type of intersection and they all understand the right of way and who moves when. Whereas in reality, when you hit an all-way stop control intersection and you've got multiple left turn lanes and through lanes, it can lead to more driver hesitancy and some delays. It's not necessarily going to operate optimally because people are still a little unsure of if they should go or if it's not their turn to go. So I know when we initially discussed it, it kind of sounded like maybe a roundabout was what we were leaning towards, and I guess now we've got the data, the study behind it that says that would make the most sense there.
The roundabout?
The roundabout does.
So what's the definition of compact roundabout?
So it's similar. Yeah, I'm trying to know why that's out of memory.
Couldn't find it. Unless
That's like what's being put in at Alderson West.
Correct, yeah, so it has a smaller turning radius, so it's not, it's like this. Yeah, so this middle is fully mountable, so if somebody truly wanted to just go straight over it, they could. It's not the wide one like at Ross and Sandy with the decorative plantings or anything in the middle. It would be,
Basically a small,
it's just more compact, so you can fit it in a tighter area.
especially like semis or larger trucks that aren't able to make that tight turn, they can just.
Yeah, that middle would be just, a truck apron that they could still drive over the top of.
What is the grade changing? What's that do?
Yeah, there's some coming off the hill. My computer doesn't want to load. There we go. Looking at this, if anything, we could look at shifting it still a little further north. It's village-owned property on the northwest side, and just trying to get it so it's not in that hill, but also at the same time, if you actually look at the Ross and Sandy intersection, that's got pretty good grade on Ross Avenue coming in and out of it. So,
that corner is cutting, is gonna have the rock in there. The southeast corner, southwest corner,
Yeah, so.
he's gonna have the rock in there.
Yeah.
I think,
so this is just kind of a concept, that if this is what we pursue, we'd go into a actual design contract then to get that,
so he recommend the compact roundabout. And also, I think you mentioned there's 30% last chance of the accident in there. Comparing with the four-way stop.
yeah. And it removes any of the T-bone type or head-on collisions.
Right.
And that's basically the same roundabout that's going in like Weston and Alderson.
Correct, it would be.
Identical.
And you'd shift it away from the existing building?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is kind of a quick and dirty, like, does this kind of fit? Yeah.
And they're not gonna be able to take a left out of what those first three driveways are. I mean, depending on the time of day, obviously not, but I mean.
Yeah.
Those are striping markers, it's not an actual.
Yeah, so we'd be looking at, how do we modify this? So if this
Yeah.
person does want to make a left, they can. I think, Luis, you might have been the one who brought it up. You had actually talked to the people that live there, and they mentioned how at some times of the day, they don't even try to turn left anyways, because the queuing is so much.
The back up there, they can't go that way anyway, so.
Yeah.
I was just gonna
I
say.
think all the right turn, he should have a kind of a road in there for right turn, all the right turn.
I don't know if we have.
Four-way, just for a right turn. They can just take off right away.
Yeah, I don't know if we've got enough room for all that.
I don't think we do.
That would be awesome. I mean,
It would be,
make it much faster.
yeah. even if you look at the turning, traffic count, turning movements there, it's a lot of left turns, people, coming on. That's actually mislabeled. That's Jelnik, not Alderson. So they come on Jelnik here and then, they're turning left here, or this car's coming here, turn left. So there's a lot of crisscrossing of,
Yeah. Mhm.
movements where, if you get all those cars in the roundabout at the same time, all four of them, realistically can be moving at the same time. So,
But you're going on is that 51 by NTC?
yeah,
The second one, has a right turn.
Yep.
They don't even stop, and then they just go this.
yeah, we need a little more room to do that.
Okay, what's your mission? Your staff recommended approval.
I'll move to recommend the village board move forward with the design of a compact roundabout for the Eldon Street and Shellick Avenue intersection.
I'm sorry, second. You got that? First and second. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it, thank you. That is, I don't know how many times we put it on the boat and we got to the board, they turn it around. So that's not gonna be the same this time. I think. We'll see. Because everything is leading us to that direction. And it's hard to be,
Well, and they're safer. I just like them for that reason.
I 100% they're safer, they're more efficient, they move faster. My issue is Americans are not used to that at all. And I mean, I get it. I still come up behind people and they're at a dead stop at them, and like, you gotta integrate at some point. Somebody's gotta, everybody's gotta get used to these things. We gotta move forward with it. So we gotta do it, but, there's some days it's a little, I've had to like slam on my brakes. There's people who just come up and stop.
yeah, stuff and stuff, you
Yeah.
go first, no, you go.
Yeah.
You go first.
Yeah,
Let's take off, man.
but it's, hey, it's growing pains, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, item 13, Water Street Engineering Contract Amendment.
All right.
Michael.
Yep. So when I'd asked engineering firms for requests for proposals for the design of Fuller Street, there were two that were more kind of the planning aspect of it as far high level, with then the anticipation or the premise that a future design amendment would be made. One was for intersection design at Schofield Ave, which we've talked about, and the other one was for the stormwater management design. We have Kellyland Park off of Rogan Lane, which is east and kind of on the low side of this, right over by the dog park. And we're looking at, would it be feasible to utilize that area as a infiltration basin for the stormwater in that area? So on the high level concept, the answer is yes. And now the actual design of getting the water via storm sewer or ditches to that area and designing the pond so that it meets DNR requirements, it would be the additional services. With Ike being hired here, that engineering design aspect will be something that he will do. But we still need help with the surveying and then just making sure that the permitting of Fuller Street using that pond that's in design will be built. We have to make sure all that is coordinated together with the rest of the Fuller Street design. So there's some additional costs for that. And then now that we have a final decision on what we're doing at Schofield Ave with the slight modification, but leaving it as is, and then adding the pedestrian crossing there. Becker Hoppy was able to give us a revised contract amendment for that additional work at Schofield Ave. So yeah, so the total cost is about 18,000 for the survey, the additional survey requirements. The 19,000 for some of the intersection design, and then about 12,000 for just making sure we coordinate to all the plan specifications, DNR permits together so that it can be bid and built as one project instead of two. So
That's 17,000, so then how much surveying they're gonna do?
So it's all of Rogan Lane and the park, and then there's some additional survey that needs to be picked up along Schofield Ave. So the soccer fields would get sunk, say 3-4 feet. So that's a very sandy area. So when it rains, they would kind of fill up with water. It would infiltrate in, and then it'd be grass the rest of the time.
Is that right?
No, it is used in other areas. I actually stole the idea from the city of Madison. Mockmiller Park has a similar design, actually. The north of the T-ball fields there, it's depressed. If you look at it, all the stormwater at Mockmiller Park runs to that area. And generally there's no water in that pond. It's just grass, but when there is a storm, that's where the water goes, and then it infiltrates in. And with the Eau Claire River being there, you'd have at Kellyland again, you'd have the ability to overflow it.
Going down.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a big drop off and more water after that.
yeah.
All north of 29 is all sandy,
Yeah.
south of 29 is all clear, so. All the projects.
So, yeah, so as to help us with our overall DNR compliance with the phosphorus removals, that pond's a nice spot, and then we can have a couple of future projects that would reroute some of the storm sewer that currently discharges on Tricia and Thomas.
Are they actively using this?
Not really.
I mean, they did, I used to coach over there, I know they did, but I don't see kids over there often anymore.
No, once the middle school built their complex out there, all of the rec soccer's been moved out there, and
It's not gonna really interfere with the dog park anymore.
no, and it'll still be an open green space that can be used. It'll still be mowed and maintained like it is. It'll be lower.
Yeah, I don't see.
Yeah.
So on the north, no. Yeah, northeast corner of it, which is dropping down to the swamp area.
Yeah,
You're gonna build up that area.
Looks like a little basketball, there's a paved area, and I don't know if you're gonna keep
Yeah.
the basketball course that's in between that swamp area and the soccer area.
Here,
Or
let
at least
me-
part of that.
I don't know that asphalt there's in great condition for that court.
Trying to think in my head, I've not walked by it, it's one thing.
Yeah. So I guess on the screen here, so these soccer fields more or less would just get excavated down several feet.
Yeah, this is what we've got. It's a small.
Yeah, and there's a little basketball court here. So,
And this is all, yeah.
and this is all
swamp,
just swamp floodplain area, so
So everything gonna flow to that southeast corner.
correct, yeah, in concept it works, so now we gotta make sure in true design it works, but
Yeah. There's a manhole in there too, that manhole, I don't know, how is out of it.
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
anything else?
No, that just kind of goes over what that
What's your-
contract amendment would be.
I move to recommend the village board approve the design amendment with Becker Hockey for the additional survey, intersection design and project coordination costs not to exceed 48,600.
Wait a second,
Oh, sorry.
discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Future item, next meeting, Monday, August 4th, 2024 at 4:30 PM. And also Monday, September 9th, 2024 at 4:30 PM. These are regular meetings. Topic for future meeting. I think we like to have the Drum Mountain.
Yep, I'll bring that back,
Please.
hopefully with a victory dance.
I would like to see that.
All right.
Okay.
You might not
remarks
wanna-
from the staff? Nobody? Thank you. Remark from committee member.
Just want to say thank you to Dan and wish you the best in your retirement and enjoy it. Thank you.
And I texted them about the whole, so, somebody will get it.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, thanks again, Dan.
Very nice job.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much.
We haven't hired that person yet.
Thank you.
We haven't hired that person yet.
Okay,
We've been looking out, right?
We'll be getting it out.
Sorry?
We haven't posted
It's
yet.
not posted.
No,
And its last date is when?
Thursday,
This
Friday, yeah. We have a plan in place. Don't worry. It's not like,
Okay. Okay.
there's just only so much one person can do at the moment, so.
But we got it, we're good.
all right. Item 18 announcement. I don't have any announcement. And accept the motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed? Thank you for coming to the meeting.